The most important thing to know about brain training is that your brain is not geared towards the modern world. How do I know this? Well, I'm a 2-time Guinness World Record holder for greatest memory, Farrow. I've been brain training for something like 30 years, and I was diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia when I was a kid, and now I run a few businesses, and people think that I've had a little zero to hero story, so they sometimes listen to what I have to say. One of the things that I've really discovered in the 30 years of training people's brains and working on my own is that most of our problems with the brain aren't really problems, in my opinion. They are a mismatch between what our brain wants to do for survival and what the modern world has become. So what I mean by this, you might be able to connect the dots already. Let's say you're getting stressed, you're getting anxiety because someone's behind you walking on the street. Well, you are feeling that anxiety because you're feeling maybe a threat instinct. Maybe they could be stalking you or something. Or maybe you're on a street that people walk regularly and you're just being paranoid and you don't know. Well, the fact is that that brain of yours comes from hunter-gatherers, from hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years of evolution that led to that as well. And back in those days, your brain would have thought somebody walking that close behind you was definitely a threat. Like every time, it's not even a question, right? You'd be ready to grab your spear, ready to kill them. That would be the life that our brain has evolved in for so long. And our modern civilization is thousands of years old, but that is not really that long from an evolutionary perspective. Another great example is sleep. If you're having difficulty sleeping, most of the time that has to do with how much light is hitting your eyes. Right now while I'm talking to you, I've got lights in front of me, and what those lights are doing is they're telling my eyeballs that it is daytime. Well, it's actually really early outside. It's not as bright as it is in my studio, so I'm tricking my brain into thinking the sun is just ginormous and super bright today, and that's going to make me really alert and awake. Now that's great in the morning, but as you're staring at your phone and it's getting later on in the day, that tricking your brain into thinking the sun is still up will kind of make it more difficult for you to sleep. And there's so many reasons behind this, but I just want to give kind of an overarching view of things. Let's take memory, for example, right? I teach memory techniques, and yeah, I can teach you how to walk into a room and memorize 100 people's names and walk out of there and recall it. I can teach you how to ace exams and things like that. But most of the techniques that I teach, they take advantage of a survival mechanism that the brain has that has evolved over thousands and thousands of years. I call this mechanism the tiger in the jungle. And the joke is basically, let's say you're walking through a jungle 200,000 years ago, which our brains really haven't changed since then, by the way. So we're walking through the jungle, and we see a tree, we see a rock, we see a trail, we see a nice squirrel, we see a tiger, and then there's a stream, and then there's another bunch of rocks, and oh, you see this nice little green frog, and the tiger has eaten you because you didn't pay attention to the most important thing. So in nature, I can attest to this because I've done survival trips in the woods for days. It's one of the most fun things that I love to do is to hop out in a canoe and go for 3-4 days up in the Canadian wilderness. And I can tell you from experience, there's a whole lot of relaxation right up until there's potentially a predator. Then you better damn well pay attention and know which direction it's coming from and focus on it. You know, you can be hiking for a while, and then when you see some droppings from an animal, you better pay attention to your surroundings to make sure that you're not in danger. So that is the world that our brain evolved in, right? Is most of the time we're at leisure, and every once in a while we've got something that freaks us out and we have to locate it and find the danger. But what happens when the danger is like paying your rent, or interest rates are on the rise, or something so abstract like that? Well, your brain reacts to it as if it is a bear just around the corner, or a tiger that's just over that hill that's going to eat you, right? It reacts as if it's a threat that's hidden. And let me tell you, if you're in the woods, if you're in the jungle, the hidden threats are the scariest. So that's why you're overreacting. That's why you're super, super stressed. But at the same time, we also use this for memory techniques. When you're trying to link up information, you can do kind of silly pictures in your head that trigger this tiger in the jungle mentality, that actually trigger that part of your brain to make a decision to remember things long term. And yes, with my theory, I believe that your brain makes an actual decision as to what information is important to remember long term. There's a lot of people who believe that memory techniques have to do with heightened emotion, and I really, based on everything that I've seen for 30 years, I think that's BS. It has nothing to do with emotion. It has nothing to do with how silly something is. It has to do with the fact that our brain, for survival, pays attention to what stands out, what is novel and different. And this has to do with novel brain training. And actually that's another great example of this is to understand what makes your brain tick when it's very healthy, and what makes it what makes you suffer, and what makes you think you're more forgetful than you really are. Again, think back to nature. What is the average experience of somebody who lives in a village 100,000 years ago, right? Most of the time they're relaxed, they're spending time with friends and family, they're happy, they're trading stories, they're talking, that sort of thing. And then they got to go out and go on a hunt, or they got to go build something or something else. So there's very much a lot of leisure time that is very relaxing. And then there are these times where there are tasks that have to get done. And then within those tasks, there's peaks of very high stress. So it's natural, in fact, very healthy for us to experience stress in very short, very high stress environments for a short period of time. It's actually very good for you. But then if you take that stress and you're dealing with it for, days, weeks, months, it really kills you. It really crushes you. Your brain literally thinks that you are walking on a path and there is a tiger right behind you ready to pounce at any moment. One of the things that you can do, because I'm all about brain hacks, is meditate. Every day when you wake up and every night before you go to bed, I suggest that you sit down and you do a meditation practice. And it doesn't have to be too complex, but really all you're trying to do is get in touch with that part of your brain that is scared, and to let it know that no, there's not a tiger chasing you. We have weird monetary policy coming out of Washington right now, So what you want to do is calm your mind on a regular basis. You want to go inside, clean up all that clutter, all that baggage, all those bad thoughts, all that negativity and everything, and just reflect a couple times a day, and it makes a huge difference. If you like this tip, you're actually going to find this and a whole bunch of others in my book, Brain Hacker. The link is down below. And if you want to find out more information, you can also check out brainhackers.com, where we have over 1,000 experts that have made different brain hacks, articles, things to help you out. And you can actually join the community and contribute your brain hacks. Hope to see you there. Thank you very much.